So the CIO or somebody in the PMO, the director, could create a portfolio for herself that pulls in information from another source for reporting, and that's security control, so that nobody can see these reports. That's another reason you would want to use a portfolio. It's allowed, and another reason would be if you have a lot of, okay, so going back to my 10K example, if I just want a report that shows me the status of all projects that have a budget of over 10K, then I can create a report that does that. If I want to see a Gantt chart, a series of reports, a resourcing report, a couple pie charts, if I want a whole dashboard that's looking at projects of over 10K, I may want to create a portfolio because all of the projects activate all of these reports down here on the side automatically. As you'll learn tomorrow, the way that the product is currently structured is every report is individual. So these reports, because they are at the moment based on hierarchy, will always show me all of those projects. So if I want a number of tagged reports, then I need to actually build all of this out and build a separate dashboard. So it could become a compromise of, well, does it take more time to actually build the dashboard out, or is it just enough to use a portfolio for them when we need to? So I don't know if that makes it more confusing, but a portfolio is, I want to tell you which projects to report on, basically.
And like, for instance, the way I could see using a portfolio is where you don't have some kind of criteria that you can automatically pull it.
Yes.
Like, for instance, we've got all of our IS projects within our project center, but I want to pick out all of those that are SharePoint projects. Well, I don't have any kind of metadata in there that designates it as a SharePoint project versus any other project. So I can create a SharePoint portfolio and then just add them in there kind of manually.
Exactly. But if you found yourself doing that a lot, you might even want to create a report to do that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The only way you can put stuff into a portfolio is to hand pick it.
Sort of. You can hand pick a project to go in, but you can also, is that how many levels is that? Let me go to the sample area. You can say I want a individual project. So let's say I want this external customer project, this report definition project, and the Hyper-V project. I can pull all three of those in. And they don't mean, just because I want to. I said so. So I get it. But let's say I always want to see IT projects. And then I also want to see Morocco and external projects together. Then I can put this IT project office in my portfolio, and any projects that go in or out of this will always be added to the portfolio. So you can actually put in a project office level, and or you can add individual projects. One word of warning, I don't know if Nancy's going to mention this or not, but we currently do not support project tracker projects in a portfolio. So with a tracker, either everything is in the portfolio or everything is not in the portfolio. You can't hand pick project tracker projects to be in a portfolio. It's because portfolios only work at the site level, and the tracker projects are at the item or list level. That makes sense.
You're talking about the template?
Yeah, so a project
tracker
tracker, I'll show you an example here. This is one line per project. You'll see this in the next section. So I can't say I want to see this one and this one in a portfolio and these three site projects. Either all of the tracker projects are in, or you don't have the tracker.
Because that's really just a list.
Yeah. Nancy, do
No, that's what I was just going to ask if that was still true.
yeah.
We can still do that, right? Because by making custom reports?
But if you wanted to do a tagging, it would still work for tagging reports. If I had, okay, I want to see all enhancement projects, and I have some site projects and tracker projects that are enhancement because they're tagged, yeah, I can create that dashboard. But I can't add just this one line to a portfolio.
I want this one, I want this one. Right, because we're going to be in a situation where tracker is our iteration 2, and then iteration 3 is more project site. So we're going to be in that middle phase for quite a long time, so we're going to have to figure out how to do that. Or maybe we'll be there forever. No, Nancy's shaking her